Well, I still have my Wi-Fi problems.
Oh.
Dude, this is getting like so ridiculous. Like,
What did Apple say?
well, I didn't go to Apple because
Oh.
I bought a new modem from Best Buy. Tried it. Problem happens again. So I'm like, okay, this is definitely not the modem, right? Then I call Motorola again and I say, something points out to your modem because I changed the router and I still have the problem. They say, call Time Warner Cable again. Your upstream power level is too high. They need to fix this. I call Time Warner Cable. They come to my house again and they say the power levels are fine. They're totally fine. And the guy's like, I have a different modem here. So I can, we can plug it in. You can keep it for a while and you'll see if it's the modem. At the same time, the guy called one of his colleagues at Time Warner and he explains my problem with, I told you like my Wi-Fi disconnects. It's still showing like it's connected and everything. And then if I open my iPhone and go to anything internet related on my iPhone, the Wi-Fi comes back magically on every device around the house. So he explains that to his friend, to his colleague, and his colleague said it might have to do something with IPv6 on the router. So I turned this off. I have a new modem, which is, by the way, a Motorola modem as well, different model, but same brand. And the thing happened again yesterday. It's just driving me super insane at this point because there's been a new modem, there's need to be a new router, nothing changed. Like problem has been going on for months now.
So it's not the router.
I know it's not the router. For sure.
Yeah. And it's not the modem. More than likely.
Well, okay, now I'm thinking the modem he gave me, well, that he loaned me really, or leased me because I'm paying for this, is a Aris, which is Motorola. So I'm like, maybe it's a Motorola related problem? I don't know.
I think it's probably your signal level.
Well, the guy said, he ran the test and said everything looks good. And that's funny because I've been Googling this IPv6 thing, Motorola 6141 Airport Extreme, and I found a guy in the discussion forums on Apple.com, a guy who's in San Diego, who's a Time Warner Cable customer, and he had the same problem. And he said he bought a Zoom modem and it fixed his problems. Now, I can't discuss with the guy. It was just like some posts, like pretty recent actually, from the last couple of months or so. So I don't know. I wasn't able to discuss with him and go into the details of how it happened and everything. But the guy bought a new modem and it changed everything. And it was not a Motorola.
Needless to say, you have a Zoom coming to your house the next day.
Well, I'm waiting because the guy came yesterday. The Time Warner guy came yesterday. He did the thing, and so yesterday I had this problem where the internet dropped. But I just want to give it like one more time. I want to see it drop at my computer. It was at my iPad yesterday, so maybe, I don't know. I just want to give it one last chance, and today might be that last chance. Well, I'm at my computer, and if that happens again, I'm gonna have to go and buy a new modem.
Well, at least you can always take it back.
Yeah, I already took back the router I bought, so that's good.
Yeah.
But so frustrating. I just don't get the thing with the Wi-Fi dropping and my iPhone, and only my iPhone being able to restore the Wi-Fi. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense at all to me. It's not my wife's iPhone. It's not my other test iPhone. It's my iPhone 5S. That's the only phone that's able to restore the internet. It's just so weird, right? I mean, it's weird. I'm wondering what can make. I don't know. What if my iPhone 5S was the problem in the first place?
What if your iPhone 5S is actually an iPhone 6 and you're from the future, and that post was actually you who posted in the past?
Could be. I already have the case for the iPhone 6, so I just need the actual iPhone 6 now. Yeah, funny surprise. On Saturday, I received the package and I wasn't expecting anything. So I was like, what is this? And then I see the label on the package says, I can't pronounce it. Spigen?
Spigen. I think it's Spigen. Yeah.
Too bad if we don't pronounce it right. And I knew right away what it was. I was like, oh, I haven't asked anything from them. I think I know what it is. And sure enough, there was 5 or 6 or maybe even more. 4 or 5, 6 cases for iPhone 6 4.7 inches.
Wow.
Yeah. So these guys took a big bet here, I think. A very expensive bet.
I saw you tweet that picture out. I was wondering if you had requested it from them or...
No.
We saw pictures of these pop up online last week. And
right.
Yeah. I think that it's tough. Are they just going kind of off of rumors or are they that confident? Maybe they have an inside guy themselves.
Well, I think they're going off the league schematics and all that stuff, and they're hoping for the best, really.
So it's for the 4.7 inch, yeah.
Yes, 4.7 inch. So
okay.
I've been.
And what do you think? How does it feel in the hand?
It feels pretty good in your hand, man. And this is all due to the rounded shape, what we refer to as the iPod Touch shape. It's thinner and it has the rounded edges, which really makes it very comfortable in the hand. And again, I'm just talking about the case here, obviously not the phone. But it feels good. It feels like it really fits your hand. When you take your iPhone 5S, the iPhone 5S is a beautiful device, but it feels odd in your hand. Like it feels like it doesn't fit very well because it has these square corners, square edges, not the corners. The corners are still rounded. So when I take these cases in the hand, it feels like it's meant to be. It feels perfect in your hand. So now I'm just waiting for the phone.
How does the case compare to the iPhone 5S itself? Have you stuck the 5S?
Yeah, I keep
case?
doing this. Actually, I went to Starbucks with the big case, and I put the Apple logo in the back and wait for people to say, "Is it the iPhone 6?" And I say yes, but I can't show it to you. No, I didn't do this. Yeah, it's you can tell the iPhone 5S is a little too thick for it. The size, again, obviously, is a little not as wide, not as tall for the case. But it gives you a good idea of what a 4.7-inch screen iPhone would actually look like. And again, still not having the phone in my hand, just referring my feelings based on the case itself. I'm feeling like the iPhone 6 might be too tall and skinny and not wide enough.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember when the iPhone 5 came out, I had the same feeling. It felt like a tall, skinny screen. It's very tall and elongated, but it's not very wide. So I guess this is nice if you're watching a movie or something like this. But then for browsing the web and things like that, it's still not very ideal, I would say. And again, I might change my mind because now I'm totally used to the iPhone 5S being tall and skinny, as I call it. And the screen works fine for me. But then as it gets taller and a little skinnier, elongated, it just looks a little strange to me. So we shall see what happens when we fill this case with an actual phone. But I wish the screen was just a little wider, and maybe not so tall.
Did it get wider at all from?
Yeah. It did. Yes, it did. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It did. But it still feels
too thin, too skinny.
Yeah, too skinny. I like to call it skinny because it's tall and skinny. It would need to be perfect to me. It would need to be just a little more wider, and maybe not as tall, just a little wider.
Huh.
So we shall see what happens here. In the meanwhile, I don't know what I'm going to do with these cases. I guess my wife already claimed one of them, but I don't know. We might have to give them away or something.
Right.
The first iPhone 6 case giveaway.
There you go. That's cool though. I mean, that's cool that you got to hold one in your hand and at least get kind of an idea. I mean, we've seen this before. They could be completely wrong.
Yeah, they could.
They could be way off base, but I think the consensus is that it's pretty accurate. So I don't know.
And I think it's
cool to hold one.
It's worth, like, especially if you have an inside
it's worth
guy.
taking a bet. Yeah,
it's worth it because, well, I guess if it pays off, it's worth it. Put it that way.
Well, look at all the publicity they're getting right now.
Right.
I mean, this has circled several tech blogs in the last week just because you think they probably printed a couple hundred of these and shipped them out? I mean, that probably cost them next to nothing.
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, when a new phone comes out, accessories are what? They're extremely scarce. They're hard to come by. Like, you really, like, when a new model of iPhone comes out, it's different, like, with the S series devices because there's already been a generation with the same body style and everything, and most of the accessories work and cases work with that prior version. But when there's a new model and a new design that comes out, there is a huge, like, just drought of accessories. You go into the store and you can't find cases for, weeks and months. So having early cases out, the ability to put your cases out like right at the same time of the launch or even beforehand is a huge win for these companies, and it's probably worth any kind of risk that they obviously it's a risk, but it's worth the risk
to come out early.
Yeah.
If it's worth the risk if it pays off.
Yeah, exactly.
If it doesn't, I mean, they take a
huge write down.
A huge write down because it's probably very costly just to design these, to manufacture them, to package them, to bring them back here. They're made in Korea, by the way. It says made in Korea on the back. Bring them back to the US. I mean, that's a lot of money, and you probably need to. If you're going to do this, you probably need several thousand units. You're not going to do this for 20 units because the cost would probably be exorbitant. So they probably have tens of thousands of dollars invested just in this right now.
You think so? I think because do you think they've made tens of thousands of these so far? Or you think it's just what we've seen sent out to journalists and maybe they have a few boxes in their house?
I mean, they might not have tens of thousands of them, but the costs, if you're gonna do not many units, it's gonna cost a lot of money.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think the most money cost to start the project, like to build your first case, and then building the second case is cheaper because you already have everything in place to build it.
Plus, the larger your order, the cheaper it gets. So if you're not doing a very large order. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because I know that just looking at the products, when I used to work at a cell phone store, some of our accessories, they could make for under $1 easy. And we sold them for 10, 20, 30, whatever times that, Like, it was just ridiculous the amount of margins there were just because they were so cheap to manufacture. But I assume that's because at that point, they were probably making tens, if not hundreds of thousands of these at once.
And then
that's probably not the case here.
And then you have the popular accessories, and different companies pretty much use the same blanks, and some of them like actually resell their what I call the mold, like what makes their accessory, to other companies, and other companies can use this mold, quote unquote, and make their own accessories using the same mold but different branding. I don't think you see this with like the big names like Otterbox or stuff like that, but you can find the same case from two different companies, and it's exactly the same case made from the same from the same manufacturer, except it's two different brandings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's way different price. How many times have you looked on eBay and you're like, wow, I can get a case for $1.25 for my phone versus the $10 or $20 you'll pay in the mall. So yeah, it's an interesting business, right? Like, very kind of cutthroat over there, and it's definitely whoever gets there first. It's a race like that, and it seems to be winning right now.
Yeah, it's good. It's good publicity, no matter what they do. If it gets a few people on their website, whether they buy or not, it's just good advertising.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about Spigen before. They make the Glass T, the glass screen protector. They make a couple good products. I mean, they're fairly well known, and I think that's why they got so much publicity, right? This wasn't a one-off, no name from Asia. We've seen a few of those. This was just the first name I think everybody recognized, and they, people made kind of raise some eyebrows, like, oh, they're invested in this. Maybe we should look at this. So.
Anyway, I'm gonna put my case back in my pocket.
I wouldn't be able to put it down, honestly. I'm exactly the same way. I would be touching it constantly. Like, I can't wait to have a phone this size.
Yeah, definitely. How are you guys doing, by the way?
I'm good. I'm kind of tired.
I've been partying like crazy.
We had a poker game run pretty late last night.
Ooh, last night on a Sunday night.
Oh, yeah. Sunday's kind of our poker night. We got some friends that we meet up with. Not every Sunday, but I mean, Sunday's usually the night we try to do it. Because the majority of the group doesn't usually work Monday. I'm the only one that's like, guys, I got to go to bed. I gotta work in the morning. So it went pretty late, but I mean, I'm just a little tired. I'm not hungover or anything.
What about you, Jeffrey?
I'm enjoying my 4K monitor.
Oh, yeah?
I'm loving it. It's so nice. So right now I have, in the past I had a one little laptop and a small screen. And I had all my windows like on one screen. And for someone like me who records using Logic, I know you guys record as well, but it's nice to have that recording to the side so I don't actually have to have it on the same screen. I can kind of monitor my levels and everything while I'm looking at show notes and looking at URLs and looking at Twitter and everything else on the other screen. So I have just one screen to the side, my 15-inch Retina MacBook Pro that is in full screen mode with Logic, and I'm just watching the timeline record right now. So that's pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's how mine's set up, actually. I have GarageBand on my laptop window right now, and I have a few side-by-side windows open on my 27-inch Dell.
Yeah. It's nice.
I could use another 27-inch monitor here.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever too much. Like, I could definitely use another, have 2 or 3, but one's good enough for now. And I really enjoy it. The 4K is just so nice.
I have to see one of those up close, like running with Mac. You know what I mean? Like running Mac OS 10. I'd have to see one of those up close.
Just think of
I've seen videos.
Think of your Retina MacBook Pro as a 27-inch version or 24-inch version. That's exactly what it's like. Just think of that as a huge screen.
Well, I have the 13-inch model, so it's real hard for me to blow that up in my mind.
Right.
To double or triple the size. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Apple, do something.
Or think of
so I could go to the Apple store and see it.
Think of a Thunderbolt display in Retina mode, and that's exactly what it's like.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a 24-inch, right?
Yeah.
Did they have bigger?
There is, but it's extremely expensive. I think bigger is like, let me see here. Go to Dell's website.
They have bigger, but you sent us a link to one that was actually 28
yeah,
inches.
but that's a TN panel. You don't want that. It's
small, and it had a smaller frame rate.
Yeah, and it's
a refresh rate. Sorry.
Those old monitors, they're not old, but there's 2 different mainstream technologies. TN panels, I think it stands for like twisted pneumatic or something like that. And then there's IPS. The IPS screens are the screens we like because they have the insane viewing angles. Like you can look at them from the side and they look exactly the same. They don't, there's not that shift that you see. Old monitors used to, you look at it from the side and the colors would like turn dark or invert completely.
Right.
Those are good for gaming, but they're terrible for like doing what we do. So this is an IPS monitor with 60 hertz, which is a pretty big difference from that 28-inch. Let me find it though. It's a crazy, I'm telling you, it's crazy how much more expensive it is. Let's see, Dell 4K. Was it?
Did you get yours on sale or something, Jeff?
Yeah, I had a little deal.
You got a little deal.
Something
Come
like
on,
that.
Jeff. Tell me the deal. Tell me.
Okay, so the price of this 32-inch 4K monitor is my version, except it's a few more inches. It's $2,699.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's insane.
What's the size of this?
32 inches.
32.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think it's a little too big. Like, I wouldn't want a 32-inch monitor.
For a while I had my MacBook. I was like a 2008 MacBook Pro and then my 15-inch MacBook Retina. For a while I had both of those hooked up to a 37-inch LCD TV like on my desk. And I got to be honest, the screen space was nice, but that might have been a little too big.
It's too, like, you have to move your head to see it.
Well, and I just don't think the resolution was there, right? This was the old 720p.
Ugh.
Just, yeah.
That's horrible.
I'm sure the... Yeah,
Do you wear glasses now?
Remember what it looked... No.
Surprise.
I don't really remember what it looked like, but I just can imagine how terrible it is now after... I mean, even this one's like a higher resolution monitor. It's not a 4K, but it's
1080 or
up there.
2560 by 1440.
There you go. 2560 by
1600 or something like that. 1440. Yeah. But I'm telling you,
and I think it's IPS too.
Yeah. What is it? Is it a Chinese monitor or is it Dell?
It's Dell.
It is. Okay. Yeah. Man, dude, I'm telling you, like, this, having that Retina on the large screen is incredible. And once Apple releases their Retina Thunderbolt display, it's going to be mind blowing. Like, it's going to be ridiculous, because basically what you would have there is they would pixel double their current Thunderbolt display, which is already a super high resolution. It's not quite Retina, but it's it's pretty nice. So that's going to be like the pinnacle, and I don't see that thing going for any cheaper than. I mean, it's probably going to be in the ballpark of this one, 2,600, somewhere around there. But anyway, enough talk about monitors.
Yeah, their monitors are usually on the high end of price, aren't they? The Thunderbolt.
Sebastian, you holding out for that?
What?
You holding out for a Thunderbolt display that's Retina, or just a Retina iMac?
I want a Retina iMac. Yep.
27 inches?
27 inches, yes.
Is that what you have now?
No, I have 21 and a half, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I have now, and it is too small. It is too small. Like right now, my screen is literally completely covered.
What do you have up right now?
I have Twitter in the top left corner. I have email in the bottom left. I have Firefox, which takes most of the space in the middle. And then I have iMessage on the bottom right. And I don't even have HipChat. It's just right here. Okay, let's put it back here. Okay, here we go.
I was going to say, you still use iMessage on your desktop now?
Yeah, actually, I should kind of replace it because we're spending more time in HipChat than my iMessage now. So I should really replace it. Boom, done, replaced.
Good.
Fixed. Problem solved. Next problem to solve, Wi-Fi. Sorry, I bring it up again. It's just eating me alive. Like, this problem is just like, swear to God, it's killing me.
Have you ever thought about just running a huge Ethernet cable through your house?
No, that's not gonna happen. This is 2014.
drill some holes through your walls and run some cable.
Drop lines.
I'm gonna drill some holes for my neighbors. That's what I'm gonna do.
So Apple had some earnings this past week.
Oh yes, they gave their third quarter Q3. I mean, it's for their fiscal year 2014 Q3. So, but yeah, they announced them on Tuesday, and it's tough to really judge these, right? Like, they met expectations for the most part. I think their iPhone sales were a little higher than some people were expecting. 35.2 million iPhones in the quarter. I think they said that was a June quarter high. Despite the fact that they said that they felt that iPhone sales were hurt a little bit by iPhone 6 rumors. Macs, I think, were the biggest surprise. Those were up almost 1 million more than expected at 4.4 million. Revenue, I think, was about where they thought it was going to be, 37.4 billion, which is huge for what's supposedly Apple's slowest quarter, right? The June quarter is usually their worst because it sits in between the holidays and then the new product cycles that come in the fall. And but I think the biggest disappointment overall was iPads, right? Those kind of fell flat on their face. They were expected to sell 14.4 million units. They only sold 13.2. So that further increased the narrative that the iPad is, I don't know, it's tough to say. I don't think it's it's not in trouble. I just think that the expectation for growth is too high there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is something, we've talked about this on the show before. This isn't something you get every 2 years like an iPhone. So I think the growth there that's expected is just way too high. Because I think they met their own guidance for this, right? They sold as many as they thought they were going to sell, or maybe just a little less, but Wall Street expects them to sell way too many more than they did.
Well, and we discussed this before. The problem that the iPad faces compared to the iPhone is the refresh rate. You don't buy a new iPad like you buy a new iPhone. It's shelf life is much longer. It's like a computer. You buy a computer, and unless you're Jeff, changing computer every 2 months, you keep your computer for several years, like for 3, 4, 5 years. Like in my case, my iMac's from 2010. It's 4 years old. I can't believe it. I actually can't believe I'm running a 4-year-old machine. I'm so ashamed.
You shouldn't be, because that's exactly what I'm going to do as well. Like, I plan on keeping this Retina. I'm serious. Like, I really do plan on keeping this Retina MacBook Pro for the next 4 or 5 years. And it's nothing. There's nothing to be ashamed about.
Thank you. You make me feel better, Jeffrey.
You're welcome.
I would bet so much money that you do not hold on to that thing for longer than 2 years.
I will.
Okay.
Mark his words.
I'm setting a reminder for 2 years from now. 6 months, Apple's going to release some kind of new machine with a better display, and Jeff's going to be all over it.
Good times, guys. Good times. So did they make money? Like, what happened? Did Apple make money?
Did Apple? Yes, Apple made.
Did they break even?
Money. I don't. Right. I actually don't have their. Let me see. What is it on profits? They generated $10.3 billion in cash from operations and everything. So that's
net profit. 10 billion in net profit.
I think so. It says we generated $10.3 billion in cash flow from operations and returned over $8 billion in cash to shareholders. That's a pretty big deal. The fact that they're returning so much of this cash to shareholders is a really big deal. Because that says that they think their stock is way undervalued right now, so they're trying to buy it back as much as possible.
And the stock has been doing pretty good too lately.
Yes.
Let's see today what it looks like, but it's been doing pretty good. A big the Nasdaq, Apple, yeah, it's doing good. Well,
that's about it. I mean, look at it. It's at
98.9.
What did the stock split at?
7-1. So it's almost at 100. That means if it hadn't split, we'd be at about $700 a share, which is close. I mean, that was its high, right? It topped out at like 706 before it started taking that dive in 2012. So this is, I mean, boom, right? We're back up close to the $700 mark.
Yeah, it's pretty close to its highest historical.
It's like going down as we're talking.
Yeah.
I kick myself. Imagine if you would have sold at the high point, right, at like 706, and then bought back in at the low point, which I think the low point was like 389 per share.
Crazy.
Imagine if you would have done that, made some big power moves there. You could have made some money. Because, I mean, we're back up to about where the high point was.
Imagine if back in December 12, 1980, you bought 100 shares, man. Then you would do really well.
Right. If I had a time machine, this is one of the stops I'd make.
100 shares, I wouldn't do you very good.
No,
1,000.
Do like 20,000.
50,000.
1,000 would be 7,000. Oh, well, actually more than that, because 1,000, the stock split before, right? They split in half, and then they split again. Did they split only twice or 3 times?
I was thinking there was 2 splits before this most recent one.
I'm thinking so too. I think there was 2-to-1 splits plus the 7-to-1, the recent 7-to-1. So if you bought 1,000 share in early 80s, you had the split, so that was 2,000 shares, plus the split again, you had 4,000 shares, and now it's split 71. That's 28,000 shares. Boom, now we're talking.
But I mean, honestly, if you could go back in a time machine and you were going to buy stock back then for what was it, a couple of dollars a share, you'd probably buy as many as you possibly could.
You would have $2.7 million now.
Not bad.
While we're talking about wishes, I wish I would have got in on Facebook when they dipped down to $17 a share, because man, they reported earnings this week too, and that was pretty nuts. I think they did like 60% profit growth or something crazy that nobody thought they were going to do, and
right,
their stock did really well this week.
Yeah, it did. I just find it a little strange how Facebook was able. I don't know if it's strange or if it's great planning. How they were able to turn the switch on the revenue and mobile revenue and mobile profits as well, which is even more important maybe. You know, like they started and they were like, oh no, we don't make any money from mobile. And then the next quarter and the following ones and the following one, it's like, oh, we're doing great. 60% of our revenue is from mobile. I'm like, how do you do this? How do you flip the switch and make it happen so quickly? This is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they are like very, very good at it and figured it out and laid out a plan pretending that they were not doing good, but then, you know, they're doing good and they show they're doing good, or if they're, I don't know, playing with numbers to make it look good, even though it might not be as good as they make it look, because it's accounting. You can do a lot of things. You can be very creative and do whatever you want with numbers. Really, you can't really lie about it, but you can draw several pictures with the same numbers and have different outcomes. So I don't know. I'm curious, but I'm happy they're doing good. I'm looking at the stock right now. It's doing great, actually.
I don't know why anybody would have ever bet against them in advertising. I mean, they have more personal information. Mm-hmm. I think probably anybody, maybe even Google, just because of all the likes and the personal data that people share on Facebook, sometimes without even meaning to. So I have all this personal information. So they were always going to be very successful with targeted ads. And I think it's just starting to, maybe advertisers are really starting to figure this out. Because I remember stories of like, oh, Ford just pulled out of Facebook, and a lot of big name brands pulled out of advertising for Facebook because they didn't like what they were seeing in returns. And I don't know. I don't know if Facebook hired somebody that could do it better, but I always figured they would be good in targeted ads. It's just, what can they do above and beyond that? And it's worth noting that I don't think that their $18 or $19 billion WhatsApp acquisition is showing on the books yet. I don't think that their Oculus Rift buy, which was a couple $1 billion, I don't think that's showing on the books yet. So I think Zuckerberg even said like, hey, these are good numbers now, but get ready for some kind of tough quarters as we finalize these deals and move our way forward. So it'll be interesting to watch them.
Meanwhile, Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Amazon kind of went the other way with it, didn't they? They, what was it, a couple $100 million in losses, maybe $120 million in losses that people weren't expecting.
They've been taking a pretty big dive since last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They dropped like 6 or 7% just on that news I remember seeing. And I've never really got that business yet because they've never really turned a huge, crazy profit. Like it's always been either margins or I don't know.
I was watching a documentary on CNBC the other day about Amazon, and this analyst, she was saying that, and it's totally true, the Wall Street just bets on the potential future of Amazon. They don't bet on Amazon as what it is now. When you look at a company like Apple, whatever they do now really impacts their stock. But Amazon, it's more like the potential about the company rather than what the company actually produces in terms of revenue and profit and stuff like that. And it's really true because Amazon never made money. They don't make money. They generate tons of money, but they don't make money at the end of the day because their margins are so thin. And in the documentary, they were actually saying that a lot of products that you buy on Amazon, they sell you at a cost, because when you take into account the free shipping, which might include the free shipping, in many cases the shipping is free, it actually end up costing them money because of shipping, because offering you shipping for free. That's crazy. So if you buy like a pen for $2, it's gonna cost them like 50 cents to ship it, you know, and they're not gonna make money, and they might actually lose money on it.
Hey, speaking of that, have you seen this option? So, like, if you're a Prime member for Amazon, you can choose free next day shipping, free standard shipping, and there's an option that says "Don't rush it" or something like that, and they give you $1 of free Amazon like digital bucks, so you can use it in one of their stores to buy music or buy, use it towards buying a movie.
I haven't seen that.
So somebody tweeted this to me this week, and I guess I looked at it, thought about it for a minute, and it just kind of escaped me because I haven't talked about it since. But it's no need to rush shipping, and it's an option because they don't want to have to pay the 2-day shipping or whatever, so they just give you a free $1 in digital bucks. Kind of crazy. I think that kind of correlates, don't you think? Like they're going, we don't want to have to, we don't want that free next day shipping to be the only option we give these people. Let's throw this out there and see. And they may just be testing it with certain users, because I haven't seen it, but I saw the screenshot that this person tweeted me, and it was pretty interesting.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you a Prime customer, Cody?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Really? That makes sense, right? It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good. Because we buy stuff off of Amazon not once a week, but pretty often, and we take advantage of their, like their on-demand shows and stuff. So,
Jeff, no need to ask. I know you're a Prime customer.
Oh yeah, he was day one Prime customer.
I'm not. I don't really like Amazon.
Yeah, I don't. I'm actually thinking about letting my because I'm coming up actually August 10th. I just got a notification. Your membership is set to renew on August 10th, but we noticed that your default payment method is not valid. So I'm thinking of just letting it lapse actually, because I don't use their streaming video, and I don't order nearly as much stuff as I used to order.
And besides, pretty much everything can ship for free on Amazon. It's not second day, like it's not 2-day shipping, but you can have ground shipping, which might take like a week, or it depends. I've bought some stuff from Amazon. It was here the next day because one of their warehouses was somewhere in California, so they shipped it the same day, and next day it was in my house. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not paying for extra shipping, because that would be money wasted here.
Right, and another thing is that there's tax charged with with Amazon, at least for me, because there's a warehouse here in the state. But if you order from other places, a lot of times it's cheaper than buying, like, for instance, BH Photo, which is something I use to get photo.
I know them.
Photo equipment and stuff like that. Well, everything that ships from there is absolutely no tax, and it's usually the cheapest way to order stuff online if you can. And they also have free expedited delivery, which is basically like 2-day shipping. So I've used Amazon a lot less. And I just order a lot less stuff in general. But
is that going to go? Is the membership fee go up for you, Jeff? I can't remember if they said that they were going to let current Prime members renew for the cheaper price, or if it's going to go up.
I think the renewal, you have one more year at the old price, which is what, $70?
79,
and then it's going to be 99 for everybody.
$20 difference, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if in maybe a couple more years it goes up or even doubles. How long can they keep that?
I just don't know if it's worth it for me. Like,
I think at a certain point it wouldn't be worth it. Like if they doubled it, I don't think it would be worth it. But an extra $20, it's. Me and my girlfriend both use it, right? It's not just me or it's not just her. I think if it was just me, I probably wouldn't need it. But between the two of us, we use the on-demand and we use the shipping enough, I think, for it to be worth it.
What do you use the on-demand with? I'm curious. Like, do you just do it with your
we
computer?
find movie. No, my our Vizio Smart TV has Amazon Video.
Okay.
So we watch. It's very rare, I think, that you find stuff on there that's not on Netflix. But you do sometimes. There's movies and some other content that. So. I haven't tried Amazon Music. You know, they just launched that music service, and I don't think that there's not a lot of songs, right? It's not like an RDO or a Beats or anything. I think it's just a few million songs, but they've been updating. I've noticed, just seeing in some of the other tech headlines, that they've added music to that library since they launched. So it may eventually be something worth looking at.
All right, let's go back on topic a little bit here, guys.
Okay.
Have you seen the new MacBook Air ad on TV? The stickers ad where they show like this. I think there's 70 of them, 70 different MacBook Airs with a bunch of stickers on top and decals. Sorry, not stickers. Yes. What do you think? It's pretty good, no?
I love it.
It's a pretty cool. Now, first of all, I have a thought just on Apple's ads as a whole. I think it's so funny that, I mean, regardless of what their ad is, like, it gets analyzed, right? It's making headlines left and right. I mean, you don't see this for like a Kia commercial when Blake Griffin dunks over a ball. People don't try to analyze and find the hidden meaning behind that. But I mean, Apple does something and everybody's trying to find the hidden meaning. And I think this was a good one, right? It's odd for a few reasons. It's odd because Apple hasn't done an Air commercial in a while. And it's odd because Apple didn't show the screen of the device, which it typically does in its commercials. It didn't tout specs or anything. It just kind of showed the rear view of this MacBook Air. And actually, there was a few times that it showed really dented, banged up MacBook Airs, and then just covered in decals, showing that they're customizable. I thought that was interesting.
Goes back to my whole thing about it's sort of cool to have no case on your phone and letting it get kind of banged up because it gives it personality.
I thought about you saying that when I saw this ad. I mean, it shows that this is a device that you can use for a long time. It shows that you're using it, that it's a workhorse. I think that word came to mind as workhorse. This thing can take a beating. This thing is being used seriously by a lot of people. It's not just for the artists, the graphic artists in the lab anymore.
Question, was this done by TBWA Shot Day? Is this the same advertising firm they normally use, or is this in-house?
I don't know.
I don't think I
ever saw that. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of deep diving, but I didn't see it mentioned in any of the articles I read on it. I think I did read, there was a few people that put out their thoughts, right? TechCrunch and a few others that put out what they thought about the ad. And one note that I took away was that it's almost as if, I mean, back in the day, right, the Macs were kind of the outcast. So you didn't have to show that they were customizable, because if you had a Mac, chances are you weren't like the people around you. Well, nowadays, if you walk into a college campus, you look up in one of their lecture halls, you're going to see a lot of Apple logos. So now it's about trying to make it, you can still stand out from the crowd. They show that it's customizable with these decals. I thought that was interesting.
Is that what you think they show, that it's customizable?
With the stickers, yeah. I think they show that. I mean, that's just one little point they're making. Like I said, I think the scars, right? The dents and stuff on it, I think that sends a bigger message than the stickers do. But I mean, yeah, the whole episode is about all the different decals you could put on it.
Yeah, I thought it was more about how to say that, about the different personalities of
That's
people.
Kind of where I thought, yeah.
The different personalities of people who use MacBook Airs. I don't think they were necessarily saying, hey, this is what you can do. You can have a sticker, because people don't need Apple's permission or Apple telling them they can, actually giving them the idea of putting a sticker. People put stickers everywhere on the back of their cars and stuff. I mean, people know about stickers. It's not like, oh my God, I never thought about that. I had decals 4 years on my MacBook. On my MacBook, actually, I had one from the show too a while ago, from the TV ad. Yeah, I think it's just saying different personalities, different kind of people from different horizon use the MacBook Air. And this was illustrated by not only the stickers, by not only the decals, but also by the condition of the MacBook Air. Like you mentioned, some of them were pretty banged up, which means the guy was roughing it up, and he was taking his MacBook Air everywhere and was not paying real attention to what he was doing. And now it's all banged up, but it's fine. It's still working. And I think that's the message I got from him. That's different people used the same computer, and you can too. And by the way, it's the cheapest Mac you can get too.
I honestly think that I don't know if the commercial introduced the idea of decals to a lot of people, but it must have reminded them, because I can't tell you how many times I've been asked since that commercial aired where you can buy these things.
Etsy.
That's who I linked in my post, actually, was to a search on Etsy for these decals. But I think I tweeted something out like, man, I wish I would have gotten the decal business before this aired, because I probably got 40 questions between comments on the post, Twitter, and then email on where you can buy these stickers. And it's just like, these have been around for a long time. I guess like I said, it must have just reminded them that this is possible, and people are interested in them now, I guess.
Well. Let's move on to our next topic. Yosemite Beta.
Open to the public.
You're one of the public, Cody, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I am. I signed up right away. I mean, it was back in WWDC last month. Or I guess, last month. And
so did you install it?
Oh, yeah. I used Jeff's awesome tutorial on how to basically create a partition on your hard drive. And it's super simple, by the way. I mean, I created a partition in minutes. And then I was able to, you can choose which drive you want to install the beta onto. So I chose my new partition, which I named like Beta HD. And it took about probably 30 minutes total to install and everything. And I can now choose at startup if I hold down, I think it's the control button.
Option?
Maybe it's option, yeah. I can choose whichever drive I want to start up in. So if I restart and I want to play with the beta a little bit, I hold down whatever button and I pick Beta HD. And for my normal day-to-day work, I still use Mavericks.
Yeah, and then you can also switch like permanently in quotes, by going to settings in your system preferences, and then going to startup, and there you can choose which disk you want to be primary.
Yes, I do it by doing a spotlight search of startup disk.
Yeah.
And you can change it that way too. I mean, but so far, okay, first impressions, I guess, of the OS X Yosemite, or at least the beta. It's definitely got that shiny new toy feeling, right? You can see a lot of the changes right on the surface. This isn't something that you have to dig to find what's different. It's immediately there. It's right in front of you. Icons are all different. They look good, if not a little too glossy. Like I think they're maybe not glossy is not the right word, maybe just shiny. So it takes a little bit to get used to. There's an empty, airy feeling to me too. Like you almost feel like there's not a soul behind the back end, because you feel like some stuff may not work if you click it. But most of the stuff I played with worked. Probably one of my favorite new features is the new Spotlight search. It comes up right in the middle of the screen, and it's got a lot more capabilities than the current Spotlight search, and feels like Alfred. I mean, I downloaded Alfred, but I never really got into using it. But this feels like what I imagined that was supposed to work like. So very cool. Love the new AirDrop. You're able to AirDrop back and forth between your iOS 8 device and in your Mac. So send pictures back and forth, files, things like that. And then I really love handoff, like being on a web page, or actually I did it with the map application is where I took advantage of this. I looked up something on my Mac map application, and then I used the handoff on my iPhone to boom right into the map app where I was looking at on my Mac. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that as well. I really like the phone calls too.
Well, my iOS 8 device is not cellular. It's like my backup. It's like my test device. It's not my main make phone calls. So I haven't gotten to play with that aspect yet, which I'm kind of bummed about. But I guess like, is that working now?
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Text messages too?
I didn't try text messages, but I did try phone calls, and I was able to initiate a phone call directly from the Mac, and it's cool. It works just like you would think it would.
Sound quality?
It's great, yeah.
They can hear you just fine and everything?
Yeah, and it's basically, it uses the cellular phone. It uses the cellular signal on your phone. So your phone could be across the room, in the next room, as long as it has Bluetooth connection. I believe it uses Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth and low energy, I believe, or maybe not. I can't remember. But yeah, it basically allows you to initiate a phone call. You just go into the contacts app, click on the number of the person, and it's like your phone or your Mac has a phone built in. It's pretty seamless.
What mic does it use?
The internal microphone on your Mac.
So what if you have, like me, I have a Yeti plugged in the USB, and that's kind of like my system. It's set as my system's main input device.
Well, they'll just hear you via that.
It would use that. Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd have crystal clear voice. Can you? What about hyperlinks? Like, let's say I'm on Pizza Hut's website and I click their phone number.
I'm pretty sure it will work as well.
See, that's cool to me. If you want to order takeout,
I believe, and don't quote me on that. But I think that's a good question, actually.
I feel like that was part of a demo or something I saw, so I almost feel like saying yes, that's it. But you're right, we don't want to say it if it's not true.
Yeah. Let me see. Well, I don't have Yosemite booted up right now.
Yeah, don't miss. All of a sudden, you hear Jeff disconnect because he switched partitions.
Oh, it works, guys.
Sebastien, are you on?
No, I'm not. Well, my machines are just too old for that stuff. Yeah. I'm already struggling with the current operating system, so I don't want to. I don't want to take my chances here. But I did sign up. Actually, I signed up. I didn't even sign up during after WWDC. I signed up this weekend. Or when was that? Friday or Thursday? I just went to everybody was like, I haven't received the email confirmation and everything. And then I go to the website and it says sign up. I sign up and then right away I get my promo code. Well, actually I had to refresh the page. Like it gave me an error. I hit refresh and boom, there was my promo code. I went to the App Store, downloaded it. But I just downloaded it for the heck of it, but I didn't install it. So it worked. I was like, why did they make people sign up like 6 months, or not 6 months ago, but last month if it's already available, if you can just do it right now.
I wonder if they didn't hit their, remember they said only the first million are going to get in. I would like to see numbers, right? Registration numbers. Maybe they just never hit their million and that's why they were still open. That's why you still got in. I don't know why people were waiting. Like, I didn't get an email from Apple telling me this was available until like I'd already had Yosemite installed for like.
That's typical of Apple, though. Like, there's a new beta, and they're gonna tell you like the next day, hey, there's iOS 8 beta 4 is available. I'm like, yeah, I've been running it for 24 hours. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even get an email. Period. Like, I was already a beta, developer with OS 10, but I went ahead and tried the beta sign up anyway, just to check it out, the public beta, and I didn't get an email at all. All I had to do was just log in, and there was my redemption code. So I never received an email. Even I looked in the spam folder and all that. Still didn't.
Did you use the same email that you are registered developer under?
No, I made sure to use a different. Yeah.
I was like, they probably figured it out, Jeff. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I mean, like, it was cool because, I called my girlfriend here. I'm like, hey, you got to check out all this cool stuff. And she was genuinely excited. She's like, cool. I can't wait for all this stuff to be available to everybody. And that wasn't the case with Mavericks. You know what I mean? What could you show off? Like the quick reply function. There was a few other minor tweaks, but this is definitely they're sweeping changes here. I mean, she even thought like the widgets were cool, right? That you can put in Notification Center. There's a calculator widget that I think is stock that I can just do quick calculations right there in Notification Center, which I was really already doing in Spotlight anyways, but I don't know. It's still cool. I'm anxious to see what third-party developers do with this widget area.
We shall see. So are you ready to make payments with your iPhone yet?
I mean, I am.
You are? Is Apple ready then? That's a big question.
Right? It's this came up again, right? And we've talked about this, it seems like several times now, because this is just a constant rumor being tossed about. This one, though, came from The Information, which was started by Jessica Lessian. She's of Wall Street Journal fame, I believe. Just a real, highly credible this is somebody, if she says something, people pay attention kind of deal. And I don't think it was her, but it was her website, The Information, that reported this week that Apple is, the talks with retailers and an Apple payment system are really starting to heat up. It could launch as early as this fall, meaning it would launch presumably right alongside the iPhone 6. So this was definitely a huge deal. What did you guys think of this? Is it happening, Sebastien?
I don't know if it's happening. Let me make a phone call. I'm going to verify this information. I don't know.
Let me talk to my familiar with the situation source.
Yeah, I have no idea really if it's happening or not.
Still just seems so far-fetched.
Well, doesn't it add some weight though that this is The Information? I mean, I feel like I trust them even more than I would trust like a beat writer for the New York Times, or, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's the, I mean, I feel like their report adds weight to the theory, because I mean, and they weren't the first, right? 9to5Mac had this report a month or two ago saying that Apple was in high-level talks with a bunch of retailers. And I mean, so to build on that with an even more credible outlet, I mean...
But I mean, if you like, the meat of this report doesn't really say anything. It just says several people briefed on the talks are saying that Apple executives have discussed launching a mobile wallet as soon as this fall for people to use their phones to pay for goods in stores. I mean, that doesn't...
It doesn't. I mean, you're right. It doesn't tell you what kind of tech they're going to use.
Apple has told some partners that its system would involve a so-called secure element in the phone, a piece of hardware where sensitive information such as the phone owner's financial credentials can be stored. I mean, this is totally related to Touch ID, and anyone can tell you, I mean, could have figured this out. So, I mean, like you said, the information is very reputable, young, but a trustworthy source of information, for sure. I just don't see the real meat here. Nothing really that makes me believe more than I believed before. It's pretty much rehashing what we've been hearing before here.
Here's my big question, is what technology is this going to use? And this kind of goes with our next topic, the recent NFC rumors. But I feel like if this is going to use NFC, then Apple's only going to put out, 40 million devices at the most within the next 6 months that will be compatible with the service. That's tough to sell retailers on. Here, everybody install something in your store, and I've got maybe 40 million people that it's going to be compatible with.
But you get to start somewhere. Okay, sorry. No, keep going. Sorry.
We are late to the game, though. There's Square. There's other people already doing this. So if you're that late to the game, I feel like you have to come with bigger numbers. If you did something just built into the current iPhones, maybe something you can do in a software update like iOS 8 and with iBeacon, the technology that's already rolling out to retailers, then I think you have, hey, we've got a couple million people this will be compatible with instantly. You should put this in your stores. So then I could see them launching it in the fall. But if it uses NFC, maybe they have to go NFC because that's the most secure wireless. Maybe they found an iBeacon that it's not as secure as NFC in terms of, they're going to be transferring credit card numbers. Like, this is going to be a really big deal. So they definitely don't want any security breaches. So they have to go with whatever technology is most proven, most secure. And I don't know, just to me, if it's going to use the NFC, they're going to have to wait a little bit more than the fall. Like, we would have to see this, more devices with NFC in them would have to be out in the wild before they could do that. I don't know. That's just my initial thought, though. I want to see what you guys think. Jeff
is like, yeah.
It's just one of those things, like, when it comes, it comes, and when that's pretty much it. Like, it's just so hard to speculate on this because there's so many moving parts involved. There's Apple, and then there's the technology, and then there's retailers, and then there's retailers implementing the technology in their POS devices, and it's coming up with different standards and security. It's just, there's so many moving parts to this. It's like speculating on when it's going to actually hit and when it's going to be usable and when it's in a real world scenario is going to be useful. It's just, to me, too much to even speculate on, and I'd rather just wait and see what happens. Just because the payment industry is so complex. I know that Square has done that, but still, that the retailers that have implemented some of these technologies is still relatively few, right? You don't go up to most of your stores. You're not going to pay with your Android device or pay with Square or whatever the case may be. You're still using typical swipe your credit card.
Right.
I'll give you a receipt and walk out. So it's just, I don't know. It's too new and too just I don't know. It's just like this ground that hasn't been walked through yet. It's just hard to really speculate on it. That's just my opinion. But what do you think, Sebastien?
I tend to agree with you. And we've been discussing this so many times before, so I'm not sure I can even add a little more to it. But like you said, it's like one of these wait and see. And who knows? Apple might come up with something completely new that might not require POS updates in stores or any. I have no idea, really. And I'm not very familiar with payment systems in general to even start making wild guesses about what could happen and what couldn't, because honestly, I don't know much about that. So it's hard for me to have a strong opinion. I just know that I really want to be able to pay with my iPhone. That I know. The rest, the technology behind it and what it takes, and it's just very blurry to me.
Here's why I think it's so interesting, right? So when you talk about new markets, because we've talked about this before, the smartphone market has become very saturated. Tablets are kind of plateauing. So companies are looking elsewhere, right? And wearables is really hot right now. And connected home seems like it's gaining steam. But those are really consumer friendly, right? Those are products that consumers are going to be able to buy. I think that's why they're so excitable. But then you have this mobile payment system that I think this area is crazy, right? Because you have the veterans like Square, and PayPal even has its own service. And then there's ISIS, that's the one run by all the carriers. And all the different major credit cards, they have their own kind of mobile payment. There's the Wave or whatever, Visa or whoever runs that one. So there's people, and they each have really small pieces of the pie right now. And then there's tons of people that are expected to be getting into it. I mean, this includes Facebook. I think we heard a rumor over the weekend that Amazon's looking to get into it. Snapchat filed a trademark for mobile payment services. So people think they're getting into the game. All these major tech companies are going for it. Google's been in it for a while, but hasn't seen much success. They're expected to ramp up their efforts. And then you have Apple. So, I mean, it's just a really exciting space for me. And this is definitely going to change the way, it's going to change the way we pay for stuff. So I guess I'm really anxious to see what Apple's come up with and how they implement it. You know what I mean? Is it NFC? Is it iBeacons? You know, how they go about it.
Well, speaking of NFC, there's been an additional, I guess, a little rumor about NFC this week. Circuit board containing a purported circuit board for iPhone 6 containing NFC chip.
There, you have it. NFC is coming to the iPhone 6. Done.
Done. It's funny. We saw prototypes for the 2012. That was the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5, I think, was really expected. I mean, when there was prototype boards with what were believed to be NFC chips, and I think a trusted source even said, hey, this is... at least one of the prototypes for the iPhone 5 had NFC built in, and they pulled it at the last second. So this is definitely not new territory. This happens almost every year.
You know, a lot of people, when they think about NFC, they think about payments. That's the first thing that pops in their head, or they think about that stupid Amazon, or not Amazon, but
Motorola.
No, it was even dumber. Samsung, a stupid Samsung thing where you touch your devices together. You look really stupid. People think of that, but like Sony has a really interesting NFC implementation where their wireless Bluetooth headphones, you just tap them together. You tap or you touch the wireless Bluetooth headphones with a phone that has NFC, and it pairs. So you don't have to go in. You know how cumbersome it is to set up like Bluetooth devices. It's gotten a lot better over the past few years, but it's still kind of annoying, right? This allows you to quickly do that. So I think that's pretty cool as far as NFC is concerned.
Yeah, there's definitely uses outside. I mean, Apple even has a patent on NFC where it talks about being able to control various devices, from game controllers to other things, being able to connect to them. So there's definitely some uses for the tech outside of just mobile payments. But I mean, I guess the big deal is it's been a technology that Apple's avoided up until now, right? I think SVP of marketing, Phil Schiller, said a few years ago that they just didn't see a benefit to NFC versus the technology they were currently using, which was low energy Bluetooth. So that's why I think it's been kind of out of the conversation when somebody like Apple doesn't pick up this technology. I mean, just like Flash kind of went by the wayside. It almost felt like that's what would have happened with NFC, but it continues to be rumored to pop up in Apple devices. So
right.
So I don't know. I mean, it looks like a real logic board. It looks like the or circuit board. It looks like the other circuit boards that they pulled out of other iPhones. And who was this posted by? Nowhere else. I mean, these guys typically have decent sources. So the fact that he says that he has a credible source telling him that there's NFC, unexplained NFC tech in an iPhone 6 prototype, I think, again, adds a little bit of weight to the theory, but that doesn't necessarily make me any more likely to believe that it's coming this year. I've been burned by that one before.
Haven't you?
So, give odds. 60% likely to come this year? No, I wouldn't say they were that high. 30%? No. What did it say on that? We talked about this infographic last week. I thought there was an NFC.
I would say 50.
How likely it was.
50.
50%?
I would say 50. Yeah, maybe 50, yes, 50. Maybe no.
Sebastian's like, my odds are we shall see.
I bet everything on we shall see.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's time for the question of the week.
Dun dun dun.
Dun 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 dun.
This is a section that I guess we don't do it every week, but it's one of those where you don't want to force it, right? If you don't have a good question, you don't want to ask it, kind of deal. So I thought this was interesting, though. This week's question of the week is, what are 3 apps you'd recommend to someone who just got their first iPhone? And I think this will tell you a lot about what apps come pre-installed on iPhone and which apps you think are most important people see. So I thought it'd be interesting. It's tough. I mean, it was tough for me to come up with 3. Were you able to come up with 3, Jeff? Just like, it doesn't have to be it's not like a tech person necessarily. This is a person who picked up their first iPhone. It may even be their first smartphone.
Their first iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on what iPhone it is. Like if it's because you have different apps work with different phones. Like if it was someone just got an iPhone 5S, I would recommend Pedometer Plus, just because that's such an awesome app. I use it every day. I would also recommend Tweetbot, and I would recommend probably Reader. I know those are pretty terrible, like run-of-the-mill suggestions.
Well, I mean, they're going to be bland because these are first-time iPhone users, right? You can't throw them right into the belly of the beast and recommend
let me scratch
obscure
that.
apps.
All right, let me scratch that. Reader. No, I can't say Reader because the average person it doesn't care about RSS. Okay,
right.
Let me redo this. 1Password, Tweetbot. I hate to do this, but I'm going to say Google Maps.
Apple Maps is that bad, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting. See, again, that tells you something about Apple definitely needs to improve its maps before Jeff will stop recommending Google Maps to people.
That's very bland, but 1Password, Tweetbot, and Google Maps. Like if you had to download 3 apps and you can only download those 3 apps for a limited of time, then those would be the 3 I recommend.
I like the 1Password recommendation. I thought about it and didn't go with it because I thought, well, average person doesn't need all the sign-in help that it gives you, but it also gives you a place to store like credit cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's very helpful. Good idea. What about you, Sebastien?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Okay, so
3 image editing apps.
no, I would say so. I stay away from Tweetbot and Reader and everything. Let's say if it was for my mom, for example. My mom says, "Give me 3 different apps I should install." I would say, looking at my home screen here, I would probably say Paper for Facebook. To replace the
That's a good one.
Yeah, to replace the Facebook app. I really like Paper. I said it before. It's the app that's making me use Facebook again. I would say probably, I don't know, it depends on the person, but Instagram might have to be there because Instagram is fun and it's very effortless. You don't have to look at the status and all that stuff, and it's just photos, so you can just scroll and be entertained very easily. Then I don't know, number 3, and again I'm looking at my home screen here, maybe like a music app or something, maybe Spotify. I don't know. It's hard because people have different needs, so I don't know.
It really, yeah.
I don't think my mom would care much about Spotify. I don't know. Maybe she would actually, even though it probably doesn't. I don't think it exists. It's not available in France. I don't think so. But she might care. I don't know. Or else I can tell her about iTunes Radio, though. Well, it doesn't exist in France either. Does it now?
Oh, no.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember if iTunes Radio is in France now.
I don't think it's it. Is it? I don't think it's gone wide in Europe yet, has it? I think it's just in the U.S. Maybe it's launched in Canada and Australia. I don't know how wide it is in Europe yet. I could be way off. It could be in none of those places.
Also, what is this? Music video. What? iTunes the cloud. Music video, TV show. No, hold on. So they have all their countries here. Oh, okay. iTunes Match. Okay, let me make a search for iTunes Radio here because there is like a million things. Oh, it's not here at all. So why does it show it to me? iTunes and iTunes Radio are available. Oh, iTunes. Oh, okay. iTunes Radio available by country. Oh, okay. iTunes Radio is currently available in the United States and Australia, and that's it. So, problem solved. There is no iTunes Radio in France and nowhere else but Australia and the United States. So, yeah, maybe I would tell her about Spotify then. I would say Paper, Spotify, and Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. You did well. You did better than me. Now, Cody, we already know one of yours is Slick Deals. No. So you just have 2.
No, I really wanted to try to go broad, and this was not easy to do because Sebastien is exactly right. Different people have different needs. This actually kind of spawned off of somebody asked me on Twitter the other day, "Hey, recommend any good app. I don't care. Just recommend me a really good app." And I couldn't think. I was like, "What do you mean? Do you want a game? Do you want an editor? Do you there's so many different types." So it was tough to come up with, but my first selection was actually, I agree with Sebastien, with Instagram. I mean, this was such a huge app, and is still such a huge app in terms of there's nothing else where you can share pictures like this. So for somebody who just got an iPhone, this is something I recommend. I actually recently turned some friends that aren't very tech savvy onto this, and they love it. It's the first time they've seen it. It's been out since 2008 or 2009, and this is the first time they're coming across it, and they love it. Like, they're seeing it for the first time, and they're like, "This is a good idea. Who came up with this?" And so because it's so easy to add filters, it's so easy to post these pictures, and it's so easy to look at pictures of other people. I just think this is a must-have for any new iPhone user. Unless, of course, they're like, "I hate photos," and then you can cross this off the list.
What kind of person hates photos, though?
Well, But anyways, so Instagram first, then for sure. I think that's even more important than Facebook. YouTube was my second one. I don't, just in terms of being able to expand the functionality of your phone. I mean, think of all the things you could find on YouTube. From music, there's tons of music on there, music videos, news updates. People post news reports to there. You can look up. I've been having fun watching bloopers of my favorite TV shows. I'm sure they're uploaded not with all the correct content rights, but I mean, there's just tons of this stuff. So YouTube really opens up the entertainment possibilities of your phone. You can watch movies. You can watch. I mean, there's just tons of stuff people upload, and it's not just people uploading their own personal videos. There's tons of content from, everybody. So YouTube's my second app. And my third one was really tough, right? I was like, at first I had CNN because I thought this will help, this opens up functionality to news. You can get up-to-date news, push notifications for news. But I really like Sebastian's idea of music. So Pandora, I think, would be my third. So Instagram, YouTube, and Pandora, because Pandora has this free, you can listen to music for free, build your own radio stations. I don't know. I think that just, you get an iPhone, you want it for entertainment. You had YouTube for video and Pandora for audio. So
cool. You said these all get some good starter apps.
Yeah, and I even went so far as to look through the App Store. I looked through their Hall of Fame section. I looked through their Editor's Choice. And some of the choices that they picked, I'm like, I would not recommend those for first time. I mean, it's just kind of like left field. Some are really well designed. And I even looked at some, like, what are some of the ones that, like, you can see stars in the sky and pick out constellations, or you can see beautiful.
This is very good, but this is very niche
of the earth.
This is
exactly, yeah. It's not something I would tell somebody to pay for as their first iPhone app.
Right.
But I think it does a good job of demonstrating the power of the iPhone, power of the Retina screen, how beautiful things can look on there. But I don't think it helps them in the long run. So I'd be interested to hear what other people's 3 apps are if they want to leave comments or maybe hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Keeping in mind that should be apps for everybody.
Yeah, keep them as general as possible, because you really can't. I mean, we could go all day and say, all right, give me 3 apps for the photo enthusiast, the photography enthusiast who travels a lot. You know what I mean? Like that 3 would be way different than any. So keep them real general. I think we could come up with some good ones.
What about other apps? Did you guys download new applications this past week? Jeffrey?
I really didn't. Mine's a Mac app, so it doesn't really doesn't fall into the
That's
iOS.
Okay. It's all right.
It's okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Any app. Any platform.
Mine is iStat Menus. This is a Mac application. It's sort of like a menu bar application that allows you to see the statistics of your Mac, your vital signs. So it gives you like a little graph showing your CPU usage, your memory allocation, your battery.
Does it say temperature?
Yeah, temperature, network, just the condition of your system. It's like an EKG or one of those things you hook you up in the hospital that tells you your vital signs for your computer. And it is really good. I used to use this all the time when I first got an Apple computer because it was just, when it's new, you try to download everything you can and test out all these little cool things. And I've stopped using it for a while. But now that I have the 4K monitor, I really needed to, and also the Retina MacBook Pro 15-inch with the 4 cores, I wanted to better monitor the CPU usage and memory allocation because, of course, this has 16 gigs of memory. Has a 4 quad-core Intel i7 chip. So it's just, I felt I needed it to be able to monitor it whenever I did like podcasting or video recording or, video editing, exporting, things like that. So it served me well. It's a great app. It is very customizable. You can, again, just quickly look at your menu bar and see your vital statistics. Like if something's running really slow, you look up there, the CPU's pegged. It's like at the very top, and all 4 cores are being used right now because Final Cut is rendering something in the background that I didn't know about. So it just allows you to quickly get a good glance at your computer and see what's going on. It also tells you how much disk space you use, your Sebastien might like this, the Wi-Fi activity and things like that. So, so it's a really, really cool app. It's highly customizable, and I highly recommend it to any Mac user. And I'm sure you guys have used it before.
Didn't you fry a motherboard recently on one of your like your laptop or something?
It was a logic board, and that was about a year or so ago.
Would this help you kind of keep you better tabs on the activity? Would that help you prevent that, or?
Probably not. I mean, it would probably help me to see what's like the temperature and everything. But that was an issue with that first generation of Retina MacBook Pros. They had the discrete graphics in them, and there was an issue with the 15-inch model. I think actually the 15-inch was the only model for the first gen. And there's problems with like the high-end versions, just the logic board just dying. I guess because it was overheating, or it was a first gen model. Apple usually kind of, they have problems with their first gen products. So,
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Does this app cost money?
Yes, it does. I don't know how much it is. I think I had the upgrade pricing because I had purchased it before. Let me just pull it up real quick. It's highly worth it, though.
$16.
And then there's a trial too you can get. Have you tried this?
Mac App Store?
No, this is it can't do the Mac App Store because it requires you can't use Sandbox and you get this kind of data, I guess. So it's really awesome. Highly recommend it. Have any of you guys tried this?
No.
Oh my goodness.
I don't do. I mean, I can see how somebody like you who really pushes the machine to the limit. I can imagine, what these numbers look like when you're rendering stuff in Final Cut and you're doing this and that. I don't ever really push my machine to the max on that. So I don't ever hear fans. I never worry about it overheating. I mean, just none of that. So I never had a real reason to. But I mean, certainly if I was in your line of work, or even if I was a gamer, or I would definitely need something like this.
I think you should just try it, like download the trial and just try it out, and report back. Because I just want to know what you would think about like having this data. Would that change your mind about it? Like, I think if you try it, you may be like, wow, this is pretty cool. I want to keep this. It's nice to be able to see like my upload and my download right on the fly, see how much memory I'm using, see my battery life. It also tells you like how many cycles your battery has gone through at a glance. So you can see like, for instance, what the charge condition is, how many cycles it's been through, the health of your battery. It's awesome. You guys aren't going to try it, are you?
No.
No, I probably won't. But I mean, the last few things you said are interesting. Battery life and what that looks like, and upload and download speed. Because I mean, I go to speedtest.net quite a bit to see where I'm at there. So that'd be cool to see that kind of info on the fly. So I'll give you a maybe. I'll try it.
Okay. So that's all I downloaded.
What about you, C?
Me see. I had to download Timberman that you guys were talking about last week. It sounded fun. And Jeff, I gotta ask you, what's your high score?
Like it's terrible, like 140 or something.
I thought you called Sebastian's terrible because you had a really high score on this one.
No, but then I told him what my score was, and his was higher, and then we laughed about it.
Oh, what was your high score, Sebastian?
213. 213.
So you guys want to hear mine? It's 450.
450?
Yeah.
How long did you spend on this thing?
455. Not terribly. What I noticed, remember I told you guys about a game that I got really into for a little while. It was called Don't Touch the White Tiles. And or maybe it's Piano Tiles. Whatever the real one is. I played the real one, not a clone. And the movements are very similar. It's just literally a left and right thumb, back and forth, and the I don't know, the gameplay is just so similar. I know the apps or the games look completely different, but it's very similar. So the fact that I got so good at that one, I think helped me with this one. I get on rolls where I just don't touch a brain. I'm just back and forth so quick. And if you get in a zone, I don't know, I just stay in the zone. So I literally don't play it that much, but I've gotten to over 400 a few times, and I think 455 is my actual high score.
New high score, 235.
It's fun. Yeah, if you haven't tried this, it's free. It's cool because you can unlock different characters. Like I have the hazmat suit guy right now that looks like Breaking Bad. So, anyway, so I downloaded that game. I also downloaded Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Rooftop Run because it was Apple's free app of the week. This one I wasn't as impressed with. Honestly, like all endless runners should be commissioned through the folks at Imanji that make Temple Run. I think they nailed the Endless Runner perfect. It's a perfect combination of movements and speed. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just felt busy to me because you're not just running; you also have to tap bad guys to chop them, and there's too much going on. So I mean, it has a lot of good reviews, so maybe you might like it, but it just wasn't for me. And then finally, I got an app called Pop, which allows you to prototype your app ideas. So like you can draw them on paper, or you can draw them even like in a drawing app on your iPhone. Like I have Adobe, whatever their drawing app is. It's like Ideas, I think. And so you draw what your app's going to look like. You draw buttons. And then in this Pop app, you can actually give a function to your drawn button, like go to the next page. So it's kind of like almost like a poor man's version of PowerPoint. But you can essentially make a multiple page app and set actions. I guess it's a little hard to describe, but I like it and it's free. So
how is your app coming along?
Pretty good actually. So far, I've worked on it almost every day this week. It's a browser. I've named it Brisk, BRISK, Brisk browser. It was eyebrows, IBROWSE, and the icon had little like huge eyebrows over two little beady eyes. But I thought better of it. I was like, no, I want a simple name, and I made an icon for it. It looks great, and I don't know. I mean, I added let's see where I was at last week. I had a back, forward, refresh, and stop. And I had a search. I now have a functioning URL bar that I can go www.idownloadblog.com and it'll go there. And I'm working on a share button. So I have a share button where I can click and a share sheet pops up for all your installed services. So Twitter, messaging, But all it says right now is the text via Brisk. I haven't figured out how to call the URL from whatever current page you're on, insert it in that box. So if you see me just sharing on Twitter via Brisk and nothing's there, that's what's going on. I haven't figured out how to get that URL. So I've had a few people reach out to me on Twitter that offered their help. So I will probably be taking them up on that. It's fun.
That's nice.
Cody, you have a lot of Twitter interactions.
Yes, I do. Yes, I mean, there's a core group of guys that are constantly talking to me about the show, constantly talking to me about developing now and TV shows, and I love it. I love talking to these people because I spend most of my time here in my home office by myself. So, but yeah, so I'm not writing any of my own code yet. I should clarify that. I'm not like free winging this. It's not like, oh, Cody learned programming in a week. I'm literally just following like these how-to guides and kind of mixed and meshing. Nobody says this is how you build the browser you want to build. There's just a bunch of different how-tos, and I'm just kind of mixing and matching parts. Like I had to look up a tutorial for the URL bar, and I'm looking at different tutorials now for the share sheet. And so it's just kind of putting all these parts together, but I feel like I'm learning, and I'm pretty close to having an operational app. So
awesome. So Brisk will be in the App Store by the end of the year for $9.99.
Right? Why does this browser cost $24? No, I don't know. I may charge 99 cents for it. I've been kind of thinking about this in the back of my head. Obviously, it's not anywhere close to being released, but I was like, do I want to put an ad in there, or do I just want to charge really cheap? There's not like and maybe there's just no need for it, is why there's probably not one. But there's not just like a well-designed, with the current design language of flat and, thin fonts and just a really simple web browser. I haven't found anything like that in the App Store. So I'm trying to fill in that niche of about 10 to 20 downloads, and it's gonna get
charge like $100 for it.
Yeah. No, I'll just plug it. I'll plug it really well on the show, and hopefully it'll get a few downloads. Brought to you by Brisk. Every comment I make. Well, this is what I think. Brought to you by Brisk.
Well, I was brisking the other day, and
our question of the week is brought to you by Brisk. Sebastian's like, all right, Cody, you're going to have to start paying for ad time. This is ridiculous.
How do you do this? And just brisk it. Brisk it up. You'll find it.
Right.
Cool. Do we have some stupid jokes this week? Because this is what I've been waiting for since last week, the stupid joke section. Jeffrey, do you have a joke?
I don't think so.
You have a really good spider joke.
I thought I had some, but they're just so dumb. I don't even want to embarrass myself.
That's good that you're finally recognizing that.
The first step is recognizing.
I have one. How do you drown a hipster in the mainstream?
That's pretty good, actually. Hey guys, did I ever tell you the story about the broken pencil?
No.
Probably good. It didn't have a point.
Well, by the way, did you hear about the Mexican train killer?
No, I didn't.
No?
He had locomotives. Loco, crazy in Spanish. Locomotives. The Mexican train killer, locomotives. Locomotives. Okay.
Two dyslexics walk into a bra.
That's the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, so that was my dumb contribution today.
What does the guy with really bad allergy wear on his feet?
What's the joke?
What does the guy with really bad allergies put on his feet?
High shoes.
Oh. What do you call it when a bass vocalist sings by himself?
When a baseball sings by itself?
Bass vocalist sings by himself.
Solo?
A solo.
Oh, solo.
It's solo.
A woman and a duck walk into a bar. The bartender... That's so bad. The bartender says, "Hey, where did you get that pig?" The woman says, "Hey, that's not a pig, that's a duck." And the bartender says, I was talking to the duck."
Oh.
That's mean.
Yeah,
Disrespectful. Come on, guys. It's all fun and
all fun and games.
Whoever invented knock-knock jokes should get a Nobel Prize.
oh, we're on the same page here.
No.
I've seen this one.
What happens to you when a T-Rex bites you?
When a T-Rex bites you, I don't know.
You get a dinosaur.
And do you guys know a last one? Do you guys know how to wake Lady Gaga up?
Applause.
No, you poker face.
Yeah.
I've never even seen that one. I was just like, wow, that totally makes sense.
All right, that was fun.
That was fun. That was a fun joke session.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the end. My only friend, the end.
Yeah, that's the song I was thinking of too.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah, good times, good talks. Despite the lack of sleep, I've been able to, articulate pretty well. I thought, considered
The lack of sleep and the lack of Wi-Fi.
And right now on the good old on Scotty's Wi-Fi. This episode's broadband bandwidth. This episode's bandwidth is provided by Scott.
Are you friends with him? Like,
yeah, we're very good friends. Yeah,
it'd just be funny if you're like, yeah, why don't you take a listen to the podcast one of these days?
I don't want him to
famous.
change his Wi-Fi password though.
Right? You're very famous, Scott.
Oh, it's secured on top of that?
Yeah. It's safe. It's good.
Wow.
It's all good.
So it's not like he just has an open network, but you actually know his password.
Yeah, he gave it to me one day because I had Wi-Fi problems. One day I was like, "Can you give me your Wi-Fi password? I need to work and I need Wi-Fi." And he said, "Yeah, sure." And
little did he know
little did he know that now I know his passwords for pretty much all of his services online because he's the kind of guy who uses one password. So I routinely, go into his credit cards and bank accounts. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Never even tried. I don't even want to try it. He would probably figure it out right away, though. All right.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. Right? Enough about credit card fraud. Let's...
All right, I'm going to go downstairs and help my wife with the kids. It's so crazy around here this time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow for our other podcast. And we'll be back next week for Let's Talk iOS. Same place, same time, same Wi-Fi network.
I'll be here.
Bye. Peace.
I was like,
don't hijack his piece again, dude.
I know.
It's so funny. I get tweets about this. Like, what's the deal with Jeff stealing your piece?
Yeah.